Hello and welcome to another theory video with me, Matthew Quilliam. This is going to be a quick one on the Neapolitan 6th chord. Now normally when we give chords names like dominant, major, minor, diminished, etc., they're talking about the patterns within the chord, i.e. you play a certain pattern here, a certain interval there, and it creates a particular feeling for a chord. So major chords always sound happy, minor sad, diminished a little troublesome, etc. Well, Neapolitan and the Neapolitan 6th, I should say, isn't that. Neapolitan actually refers to the place in which this particular technique originated, Naples. It's a very classical technique, but you find it in all of classical music, all the way from the sort of Baroque era, all the way to even music composed in the 20th century and 21st century. Chopin was a particular fan of this as well. What you're essentially doing is playing the flat 2 chord in first inversion as a substitute for a predominant chord in a perfect cadence. Whoa, so many technical words there. What does that all mean? Okay, well let's break it down. It's really fun, so stick with me. Normally, when you end a piece, you have a perfect cadence in the key of C, G7 and C. How more easy and simple can you get? What you can do is, before you play the G7 and C, you can play another chord. So we know about 4-5-1 progressions, where chord 4 is F, and F being 4 away from C, which is the home key. So C, D, E, F. F is 4 away, so 4, then G is for 5th, 5, 1. Really, really common chords here. F, G7, C. They work really well together. So does D minor, and then G7 and C, or D7, G7 and C. Really standard chord progressions. I'm sure you know loads of songs that either go with the D7, or the F, and then the G7, and then finishing on a C. While that sounds nice, some composers like to substitute one of those chords to something else that brings more spice and tension, makes it sound extra nice. This typically works in minor keys, but it can be used in anywhere. Essentially, that first chord, so either the F or the D7, gets replaced with the Neapolitan 6th chord before we play the G7C. Now the Neapolitan 6th chord in the key of C is D flat. What the chord is essentially saying is that you have to find the note that is one semitone above the root, or one semitone below the second chord of a scale, put it in first inversion, and then play a G7 and then a C afterwards. Now, in the key of C, there's a C on a fret. Going up one creates a D flat, or a C sharp, but it's easier to call it D flat. Then you make a major chord. Now it's really important that it's a major chord, because normally in the key of C, chord 2 is a minor, so D, D minor, but the process of going from D minor to the Neapolitan 6th is you turn it into a major chord and then you flatten it by 1 degree. So you go from D minor, then you turn it into a major, then you flatten it. So you get D flat. But you also have to put it in first inversion. So this means putting a particular note in the bass. In the key of, in the case of D flat, the third note is an F. If we do the notes from top to bottom in root position, i.e. with D flat in the bass, then the next note up is an F, and then an A flat. And you get the D flat on top. Well, with first inversion, this means that we put the third note in the chord, or the next one up from the root, in the bass. So as the next highest note from D flat is an F, we have to find F on the C string, which is there, and then we have to make a D flat chord around it, so that F is the lowest note in the D flat chord. There we go. So in the key of C, that's the Neapolitan 6th shape. Now it's only a Neapolitan 6th if it's then followed by G7 and C. Let's try it in minor. Kind of spooky and really tense, really nice. And it's a great trick that you can throw in to bring some variety and spice up your playing, as opposed to your D7, G7, C. It's nice, but could do with some variety. So that's the Neapolitan 6th. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please let me know by leaving a like on this video, and if there's anything else you'd like me to cover, leave a suggestion in the comments below. Next time I'll be going over the elements of music, which will help you compose pieces, as well as I'll be doing a short little video on an introduction to songwriting too. Until then, I'll see you on the next video. Bye!